Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the small little town of Imola for this, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. I'm here to give you, as always, a little bit of a rundown on where things started last week. Before we jump into qualifying in just a few seconds' time, you can see the car starting to pull out onto the track there as well. Aaron took a surprise victory, but an utterly dominant one last week. He topped the quali sheet and stood on the podium for the first time this season, giving us our fourth winner in 5 races. Stars Orphan and Jake joined him as they continued their battle for the championship. Jake is yet to finish anywhere but the podium and the pit lane this season, as is Wee Biscuits, but the latter has crashed out 3 times. Immortal extended his winning streak over teammates, but he's consistently slipped down the field since round 2. Quali will be important though, and no one has been better this season than the Ferrari driver. Could definitely be another test of survival today. There's good news for Stars and Daniel P45, who did crash at Baku but was still qualified. Aaron moved up 4 positions in the table last week after his win, while Jake extended his lead by 3 points, creating a gap of 17 to Stars. Alpine's plummet finally began after their loss of Modular Cat. They plummeted from 1st all the way down to 4th, meaning McLaren take the lead of the championship, but only by a singular point over Alfa Romeo. With no wins to their name, they'll be gunning for the top spot on the podium today to cement their charge. This is RSF1 Division 5 Round 6, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. I'm Harvey OC. It's a pleasure to be here once again, and I'm joined by the man whose voice has won the hearts of Division 5 fans from all over the world, Silky. I hope you're here. How are you doing?
As well, but one specifically, I have been speaking to Jake prior to today's race, and this is insider information. He has been racing drivers from other divisions, practicing for today's track, and has been beating people significantly higher up in the table in RSF1 Divisions 2 and 1. So definitely one to keep an eye on today. Definitely going to be driving very quickly today in his Alfa Romeo.
Good to know. So definitely one to look out for then. I said there in the briefing that I think today is going to be a bit of a battle for. Well, it's going to be survival more than anything else. I think is going to be the key. I think the win predictor vote reflects that with 6 people up there and it being very close and very spread out between those votes. Aaron tops it. I know you've clearly you're confident there in James performing well, but do you think Aaron can do it again?
Aaron obviously has come off of Abu Dhabi on a high. It'll be interesting to see if he can hold this momentum coming in today. Very fast on track last week, and despite constant fighting from Jake, just was able to hold him off. Also, just in general, is a very quick driver, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep up this week in his Mercedes, possibly get himself another win and start to look at moving his way up into potentially getting himself in contention for the Drivers' Championship this season.
Yeah, it's very close at the top at the moment. A lot of drivers in very are scoring a very similar number of points to each other. So it's exciting. It's very close so far, and I think we're expecting another quite chaotic one today as well.
So
Jake and Mando.
speed.
Yeah,
You
Jake and
love that.
Mando's setting ties 117 so far, 117.745 the fastest for Mando. It's only Q1, we're not expecting anything blistering yet, and as long as every driver sets a time and doesn't crash, they'll all be through to Q2 here.
Interesting that Jake's car has come to a halt here. It looks like he is just letting both cars respective to him go past. It'll be interesting to see what he can get out of this car here today. He's obviously, like you said, got a couple of 117s coming through. It is Q1, so obviously read into it with a pinch of salt. But who's your personal favourite to come through today and secure himself a win to possibly look at contending here for the Drivers' Championship?
I I voted for Mando. I voted for
Okay.
Mando. I think with the way that this track is and the way that we've seen similar chaotic races, Australia is the one that I think back to, right, to compare to this track. Very fast, very flowing, and we had one lap of racing at the end of it after a safety car. I think we could see something similar here today, and if we do, I think Mando is the person to capitalise on it. Very few penalties so far. Likes to go small on the pit strategies, like doesn't have to pit very often. Has lost out consistently this season to Stars, but I think if Stars is going to be at the front of the grid here, he's in a lot more danger than Mando could be. So yeah, Mando's my vote, but Stars Orford is a very solid second pick for me.
I do believe both McLarens are obviously very quick drivers. Obviously, Mando had that awful incident last week with RSA Boca Dion not being able to keep his car on the track and forcing him out on, I believe it was only the second or third turn of the track, which was obviously a shame to see so early on. But especially with both of them performing very well as well in qualifying, so hopefully we can keep things clean in the first couple of turns this week, mainly avoid any major drama. And obviously, I think, like you said, with it being such a case of Mando having very short pit strategies, hopefully we don't see too many safety cars here, which will favour him later on into the race.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is like, even despite a very early incident last week, Mando still managed to finish P7. He's finished P7 twice this season, finished P10 at Canada. That's his worst. I think Mando's got the pace. He's been caught out a few times and been unlucky. The qualifying's not there. I think that's what he struggles with. But he's leading right now, so hopefully he's practiced for this race and he's going to prove me wrong. Aaron's right up there again. Again, I know this is Q1 and we shouldn't be looking too much into this just yet, but a 117.8.
Obviously, McLaren did have their issues in qualifying last week with Stars slipstreaming off his teammate and then not reciprocating said actions later on in Q2 and Q3, which might have hindered Mando a little bit. It'd be interesting to see if they do change their strategy this week and obviously help each other going through into the later parts of qualifying. Be interested if we can get ourselves a McLaren 1-2 here. However, obviously Aaron, Jake and James will all look to upset this with very quick times coming through.
Yeah,
I think
a few
a lot can be said
drivers
for Immortal as well. Obviously, a very quick driver who does impress in qualifying will definitely look to upset that front pack of McLaren as well.
Immortal was my initial pick. I'll be honest, Immortal was my initial pick, but I don't know. Something tells me again, if there's an incident at the top of the field, Immortal's going to get caught up in it. Not necessarily on purpose. That's not saying that Immortal causes these incidents or anything. I don't believe that at all. But he seems to get drawn into them. I can't say I have full confidence in him making it through, but that could be wrong. You know, a lot of people crashed out at Baku. I look down here and there's a lot of ones in the DNF column, and that's because they're all at Azerbaijan. That was a horror of a race, but like as was Australia, there were as many DNFs I think as Australia as there were at Azerbaijan. So this is a similar track. I'm not confident, especially after the Div 2 race yesterday.
I can definitely agree with you with Immortal obviously getting potentially involved in any early incidents towards the front of the pack. I do believe it is obviously that he's a very quick driver and his aggressive racing style helps him overtake so many drivers on the grid here. However, sometimes that may necessarily not be a good thing due to obviously some other drivers perhaps not giving him the space that he should be given in these situations and not giving them respect, which can end up in incidents very early on. His aggressive racing style is nothing to get past though. He's so quick around every track. I've seen that so far. Be interesting to see, obviously, with how much speed you can carry around Imola, if he can hold that and potentially either qualify high and stay up there, or if he doesn't necessarily finish as high up in qualifying, fly through the grid and get himself onto that podium, possibly onto a win here on today's Grand Prix. Be interesting as well to see if Days Freak does come out here and actually get through Q1. Obviously did not register a lap last week, but still put out a very impressive performance, as with the week before, coming from right near the back of the pack and working his way up near to or onto the podium. Very, very quick driver, so if he can actually set himself into the later parts of qualifying here, we could see an upset from the American.
Yeah, I know it's been floated around a couple times, sometimes as a joke, sometimes not, about Days Freak winning today. I don't think it's off the table. I don't think it's off the table anybody winning this race today, especially with a smaller grid. Yeah, there's a huge number of names. I think if I had to lay down a prediction, it would be we're going to see 2 McLarens and a Ferrari on the podium. That's a pretty safe bet for me. Again, Jake gets involved in incidents, not by any fault of his own. It just happens, and I think, I think he'll have to be lucky to not tangle with anybody today, or he'll have to blitz everyone in qualifying and just run away, exactly like Aaron did last week.
My money, personally, is on an Alfa Romeo, a McLaren, and a Ferrari in that order. I do think
In that order?
In that order. I don't think we're going to see both McLarens on the podium today, but if we don't, I do believe the other one is going to be in fourth or fifth. It's not going to be a situation of one driver massively performing and the other one not doing such. I do just think with the amount of quality you have out here on the grid, especially towards the front of the pack, it's going to be difficult for any of these five to get onto the podium.
I think that's what's proved to be so exciting already this season. You know, we're only 6 races in, but it is it's incredibly tight at the top. A lot of these teams are all very similar. I mean, again, as I mentioned, Alpine losing 3 positions, dropping from 1st to 4th in the championship. Yes, we know that's because Modular Cat's been moved up, and Thor hasn't been able to get the results that he would like. Hopefully that's going to change soon, but you know, the fact that in one race they can drop down so far shows how much is going right for the rest of these teams. McLaren and Alfa Romeo in particular. I think Ferrari still being down in 5th is something we didn't really expect. We'd like Immortal to be higher, but Haas as well. Haas in 3rd. Hopefully James is going to really contribute that to that even more as time goes on.
Obviously, James had a fantastic showing throughout the majority of Canada. Unfortunately, did let it go in the final 5 to 10 laps. However, up until the rain really started beating down, he was just comfortably ahead of the majority of the pack here. He obviously ran through first, but I believe held it for around 20 laps. It was a very dominant performance, but after picking up a couple of penalties, I'm not sure if his head started to wobble, but started to drive a bit more recklessly. Did end up getting himself involved in it and obviously dropped down in that race, which was a shame to see.
So there's a couple of things that have happened so far in this session that we've neglected to mention. We should start with the big one here, which is Wee Biscuits, who set the fastest time in the session, had a game freeze and has crashed and is now out.
That's heartbreaking.
So we'll see what happens here. We might get some kind of a restart because RSA Bocadillon has set a lap. That wouldn't have mattered had Wee Biscuits not crashed. That would have been fine. He could have retired at the start of Q2 and we wouldn't have had a problem. But with Wee Biscuits out, we'll see what happens here. Something might need adjusting, but we'll see how this plays out, and we'll jump back on board with James, who seems to be on another lap here. We'll see what he is able to do. Again,
like almost just passed through track limits there. However, it does look like he just about managed to keep it on the track coming through into sector 3 here.
Yes, slowing up is James though, deciding not to push any further, which I think is probably smart with 1:20 left in the session and on half ERS. Maybe he's might be trying to harvest here actually and go for one lap just at the end, but we'll see. Again, survival. That's one driver already out in qualifying without any contact with anybody else. We'll see what happens. It might be worth... we'll see if... It doesn't look like we're going to do anything. We're just going to continue, which is absolutely fine. So as the rest of these drivers retire or make their way back round to the pit lane, we'll just chill. That's a chaotic start, but it's about what we expected.
Yeah, you expect it really down in Div 5, obviously. Fantastic lap from Biscuit coming through with a 1:17.6 would obviously put him at the top here in Q1. Interesting to see that Days Freak as well is actually going to do qualifying this week. So obviously if he doesn't proceed to start in the back of the pack, which it doesn't look like he will with the time that he's setting, it'll be interesting to see if he can look to challenge for that win here today. Obviously, like I said, coming through with some very, very impressive driving, despite coming through so low, obviously, at the start, but while not qualifying, however, has managed to get a lot out of this car despite that. So hopefully if he does start further up the grid here today, we can potentially see him push for a podium, if not a win.
There we go then. There is a quick rundown for you on where we are at so far. So Mando technically leading the way after Wee Biscuits crashed out with a 1:17.745. Aaron in P2 with 1:17.821, and Jake in third. A few drivers there setting laps on mediums, a few setting them on softs. I'm surprised no one went for the intermediates, to be honest, but that's probably a smart call with how dangerous this track is proving to be already.
Obviously, Imola, because of the amount of speed you can carry through this track, can be a problem with potentially braking too late, especially when the pack is very tight together. We might potentially see down some of these straights when the front runners do start to brake. Maybe some other drivers don't see it coming in time, do potentially crash into them and cause some rear damage, which would not be ideal for some of these drivers coming through into the latter ends of today's race.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump back over here onto our standing screen. Just let everybody have a read through there. Obviously, Jake is leading the way, as I mentioned, by 17 points. Stars Orphan in second with 69. Five different teams making up the top 5 on the drivers' standings, which I think is nice as well. But 2 of those in the top 5 without a win. The wins are very much spread out. Obviously, we've only got 2 drivers on there who have recorded a win, being Jake and Aaron, because the other 2, well, one of them's been promoted, and one of them's talking to you right now. So, just a little brag there.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
Got to give myself some credit at some point. When I'm not even on the standings anymore. Look, I'm just saying, I would still be P6, right? I would still be P6 off one race. So,
I would say, obviously, we did see Modular Cat dominate RSF1 Division 5 whilst he was here, picking up 2 wins and a 3rd place in the 3 races that he did drive in. Very, very impressive driver. Has, I believe, was it Division 3 he then moved up to after said performances?
Yes, all the way up to Div 3. I think... so obviously because of different race days and stuff, I think he was moved up to Div 3 just because that was the day that suited him best. I don't want anybody to be getting the assumption that he was 2 divisions lower. These things happen. People go into the days that suit them best. But they get moved up, and again, after 3 rounds, Modular Cat was moved up, and I think the division's a lot more balanced now. I can't see anybody here that I would say probably needs moving over to a higher division. I think we've got a nice close fight at the top of the tier, and some good midfield battles as well.
I do think that's what keeps Division 5 so interesting, is that, like you said, there are around 4 or 5 drivers here that could potentially win the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, you have the likes of Jake, Stars, Immortal, Aaron, Days, but even then you've got some underliers like Mando and Daniel who could potentially be up there as underdogs in that said title fight. They just need 1 or 2 podiums and potentially one of the top 5 to slip up and DNF, which we have seen is entirely possible, and it's just a completely different story. There's so much that could change here right now in this division right now at early doors.
Exactly. I mean, it's an 18-race season. If you include this one, we still have 13 races to go, including 4 sprints. We've only had 1 sprint this season, which was the first race at Azerbaijan. So there's plenty of points still left on offer here. We're by no means done. And I honestly can see this going right the way to the final race. Obviously, Jake has extended his lead this race just gone, but I don't think... well, he's extended it, but only by 3 points. 17 points is a gap that Stars can comfortably make in one race, and I'm sure we will see happen. So we'll see how this all unfolds. Q2 underway now as well.
First, we have James here about to set his first lap in Q2. It'll be interesting to see what kind of times we're starting to look at now. Mando obviously coming through this 1:17.3 as well, which is a very, very respectable time. James just coming around this final bend now and across the line, coming in with a 1:17.8 as well, which puts him in second, obviously with 2 laps done so far. So, did you see what happened with Kizzo at all? Obviously, in Q1.
No, it looks like Kizzo again has just decided to just retire. I know that Kizzo did have a qualifying ban as well, but there's been no official confirmation, it doesn't seem, as to whether that's been served or not. So we'll find out what happens. Maybe that's him doing it now. Kizzo is only... I think this is the first time actually that Kizzo has raced this season, as far as I can see. So this is it's quite likely him just serving that ban.
Obviously RSA Boca Dion does have a qualifying ban as well, if I'm not mistaken. It'd be interesting to see if he does decide to serve it here today. Obviously he did set a time in Q1, which is not what we expected. However, we'll have to see if he does remember that he does have said ban here in Q2 as we move through down just about to hit the 10-minute mark.
It's been communicated, the stewards have been in touch to let him know he needs to serve it, so I don't think we'll be seeing that Red Bull out on track in this session, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye out, of course.
You have Aaron here coming through Sector 2, I do believe, setting himself a hot lap right now. Does take that turn very, very quickly, holding very, very good speed here as he just starts to come into Sector 3. He does get a lot out of this Mercedes, obviously had shown it last week, picking himself up the win. Very, very impressive driver, very quick as well. We have a lot of just genuinely frighteningly fast drivers here on the grid today.
Yeah, a huge amount of speed on display. Quali seeming to be becoming more and more of a strong point every week here, which is great to see. Always like to have a bit of a mixed up grid and a lot of people at the top, as Aaron once again moving towards the top of the timing sheet there, 1:17.858. 5/10 off Mando, but again it's Q2. Only 3 drivers getting eliminated here after bans and so on. Well, 2 drivers actually only getting eliminated here after bans. So not dire just yet.
0.002 of a second quicker than James as well. Be interesting to see that fight in Q3 as the other Haas is also out there serving a lap. It's the Haas of Daniel, but it looks like he might have invalidated this one.
Mortal heading around as well, just about to cross the line to enter Sector 3.
Another driver who is just incredibly quick in qualifying and just is so strong at overtaking as well. Does again get the most out of this Ferrari. Always seems to be a latecomer in qualifying, in that he doesn't really set times early on, but he will always surprise the pack towards the end with just a blisteringly fast lap. He comes with a 1:17.385, putting him 60 milliseconds behind Mando. That is very close.
A lot of really great banker laps so far.
I believe Q3 as well, we're going to see all of the action as we do look to see some of these drivers take their positions on the grid. I do think you're going to see a lot of orange and a lot of red in that front 5.
I'm liking the look of how that podium is at the moment. If that's how we finished, I'd be very happy. That would be the dream. Yeah, Mando leading the way again, once again showing that he's got the pace. Immortal putting in a good showing in quali as well. A few drivers still out on track. James is going out for another lap.
Interesting to see here. Obviously, getting some unnecessary wear on these tyres here in Q2. You'd think he might want to save them for Q3, as I don't think this time it is going to be in danger. Saying obviously quite a close time to Aaron, who, as we know, is a fast driver here. So interesting to see that he's just getting some unnecessary wear here on those softs moving into Q3.
Certainly an interesting choice.
Interesting that both alphas are only just looking to set laps now. Obviously, Jake hasn't come out of the pits yet, but we do have DC80 Brick Grit out on track right now. Oh. Looks like we've had someone go off track there in order to let someone by. That was the part of Days Freak who went off track with us in order to allow Brick Grit to come through on their outlap.
James is back into the pit lane, so decided not to set a time.
Did go off the track just towards the end of Sector 2. That's why he then decided to take it into the pits.
Brick Grit, Brick Grit's the only driver at the moment out on a flying lap, but I'm eyeing up Jake as well there, because I think that could be an exciting lap time as he pulls over to let Motive Carrot through, who's also on a warm-up lap. But well, it's good sportsmanship anyway. Can't complain about that. Purple Sector 1 so far for DC80 Brick Grit. We'll see what they're able to do. Maybe a bit of a slipstream on the cards here. Surely that's not gonna happen. I mean, it could do.
Not much distance between them. There's a chance here that Brick Grit could potentially sacrifice this hot lap in order to allow Jake to push up very high into Q2. But I wouldn't expect to see this kind of action up until Q3 here.
You wouldn't think Jake would need it, right? That's the key. I think if we were in Q3 or if Jake hadn't been putting in the performances he's done so far, you maybe might, but no, you can't see the championship leader needing a tow to get into the third qualifying session, and indeed he's not going to take one at all. DC80 Brick Grit though crosses the line, slowest in the session so far, but still a 1:10.970, so it's faster than we saw last time out, and he's qualifying as it stands. Bocadion will not set a lap time, neither will Kizzo Lad, so it's just down to his teammate Jake, to Thor, and to a Motive Carrot to beat him, to knock him out of this qualifying. I'll jump on board with Jake and we'll see how he's doing. Purple Sector 1 as well.
Expecting him here to bridge that gap between the two McLarens and potentially slide himself there into one of the top 3 podium places here in Q2. Like I said, obviously he has been driving with some of the drivers who are up in the high divisions and has beaten them on track in the Imola, so it'll be interesting to see if he can maintain that form here today. Flying through Sector 2 here into Sector 3 now.
Heavy on the brakes, down through the third to last turn, or second to last turn rather, through the penultimate, and across the line here for Jake. We'll see what it's good enough for, just P2, but it's still Q2, so it doesn't matter.
Very
just
close to time as well.
Yeah, putting his teammate in the danger zone though. Thor is really only going to have one shot now, unless he's going to do 2 laps in a row to overtake him. But we'll see how this goes for the Alpine driver.
Let's get on board with Thor here now as he does come through the chicane here in Sector 1. Holds his speed very, very well there. Hopefully we don't see any traffic building up, as there are 2 Alfa Romeos here in front of him who are, I do believe, both not pushing their cars due to them just previous successive laps. Hopefully that doesn't hinder his time, as we wouldn't want to see any foul play here coming through Q2.
Thor has said that he's having issues with his equipment. He's having a sound issue. So I think the decision he's made here is to run this lap without any sound, which could hinder him. We'll see how this goes. He's looking pretty comfortable so far. Not really any major wobbles or any difficulties with any of the curbs. The game recording those first two sectors both as purple. He's going to head down here now through the second fastest sector of the lap before hitting two harsh 90-degree left-handers and crossing the line. Seems to be fairly comfortable though so far for Thor, and he needs to beat a 119.97 set by Brick Grit to knock out the Alfa Romeo from qualifying. He's going to cross the line here. It's good enough. It knocks out the Alfa Romeo. It's P7 for Thor now, a 117.873.
Thor obviously has been having a lot of technical issues with this Alpine, had lost control of his wheel over in Canada, forcing him to turn into a wall during qualifications. It'll be interesting to see if he does have any conversations here with his team in order to get these issues sorted, as it's just a consistent hindrance on his performance, which is not what we want to be seeing here in his Alpine, especially with his teammate putting in impressive drives. He wouldn't want to be held back by said technical issues.
A few declarations of retirement starting to come through here, Aaron. The first one, I imagine we'll see some of those top four pulling the plug as well very soon. Indeed, yeah, Bocadion does have a quali ban. He's now retired from, he's left the session completely. Hopefully his AI won't be coming out, but with just over a minute left in the session, I think we'll be safe there. Dazed Freak is stalling as much as he possibly can. I think he's just headed out on the track here just in case he needed to settle that. Doesn't seem like he's going to have to though, as Brick Grit has retired as well.
Set a time. Did go set a time here to potentially push Brick Grit further down had Brick Grit come out for another lap. However, has invalidated, so it's not going to matter as we can potentially see him pull into the pits. Oh no, is going for another lap.
Why not? Go on, Daniel. Let's see what he can do in the Haas.
Give us a show.
Maybe not too much of a show though. Let's keep it. Let's keep all four wheels pointing in the right direction, please. That would be ideal. Maybe Daniel just needing a little bit of a confidence booster here.
Absolutely no traffic out here either. This is going to be ideal conditions for him as he now comes into sector 2, takes that turn very, very well here.
Ooh.
He almost lost it there.
A bit of a wiggle. Yeah, completely clean air, rub it in as well, on a fresh set of softs, I believe. So this is prime conditions for Daniel to set a pole lap. Sadly, it's only Q2, but we'll see. Oh, there's a spin as well. We wanted it. We wanted it, and he's provided.
Nah, if we just see some donuts on the way back to the pit. Here.
Oh, he's beached it. Oh, he beached it.
Oh,
that could have been terrible.
Oh my word.
Could have been terrible. He's lucky that I think the stewards aren't going to argue with that too much, but you can see there as he spins, yeah, completely stuck on the sausage curb, all four wheels in the air, and he can't get the car going again. That could have been absolute disaster for Daniel. As I say, I think the stewards are going to let him away with that one, considering there was no one else on track. But I'm sure it will be reported by somebody, especially if he gets a good result here.
We'll definitely find a way to appeal it.
Certainly did put on a show.
That's what we all wanted to see here from the Haas. I'd be interested to see what we now come to see through in Q3. This is where it all counts. This is where then grid marks start to take place. Let's see the real fireworks now as we move into the final stage of qualifying.
Hearing confirmation here from the stewarding team that Bocadion has been disqualified. Has been disqualified from the race completely for not serving the quali ban. So regardless, it doesn't seem like we'll be seeing the Red Bull on track now, and that was why we saw them leave the session. But yeah, RSA Bocadion disqualified from round 6.
Interesting to see, as he obviously always does bring action in these races, whether that be positive or negative. A very exciting driver to see in qualifying. However, driving style can be quite dangerous in these first couple of turns, especially with the pack being so tight. Will be a shame to not see him obviously coming in today. Obviously, we do have a smaller grid already, so it would have been nice to see an extra car out here. Obviously, putting the points contention into a bit more trouble had he been here on the track today. But it'll be interesting to see what happens now, as Red Bull are just going to take a very heavy hit, having not had their driver here out on track.
Like Red Bull have had an absolute shocker of a season so far, it has to be said. Liam hasn't finished a single race. Boca Dion has accumulated the most penalty points out of anybody so far as well. We were saying before, there's 13 races left, including this one. There is plenty of time to fix things. The season is not over. There's plenty of time left. 4 sprint races as well, but these guys need to step it up quite quickly and quite dramatically, because as of right now, it's poor. It's poor in the Red Bull camp.
I do believe RSA Boca Dion's strengths will come through in these sprint races, but obviously we'll have to see how that works out when we do eventually get to them. It looks like James is going to be the first person here to set a lap, first out the pits, as we do tend to see from him in this Haas. Always likes to get out there nice and early in qualifying. Does have the McLaren of Mando that he's chosen to let go by. I don't know if he's going to potentially use his car as a slipstream as they both come through on their hot laps. We'll have to see how that goes. Interesting to see Jake has come out early as well in qualifying here. Usually leaves it for the last 5 minutes to register a time, but interesting to see the Alfa Romeo come out earlier than expected. Mando here just going over the curb, almost losing his car as we head into Sector 3 here. Go takes the chicane coming through, does take the chicane very, very well. Obviously this is just an outlap, but we don't want to see any incidents as he obviously comes round through here over to the checkered flag. Here we go, we're about to see the first lap of Q3 begin as Mando comes across the line. Doesn't seem to have an issue with Mercedes of Aaron coming out of the pits, just about avoids the car as it comes through the chicane here. Takes a very, very good Sector 1, I must say, as we now take this left-hander coming through into Sector 2. Does have a very, very slow car of Days Freak in front of him, though hopefully does not cause any traffic for him here as we go halfway through Sector 2 now. Does just let him go past. We take this chicane here in Sector 3, holds that McLaren very, very well around that corner. 3 more left-handers to go, and we will see the first lap here of Q3. Holds his car well to take the sharp left hand, coming through the final bend now. First lap of Q3 is in, and it's Mando setting a 1:17.4 here today. Not bad, it's quick.
James set a purple Sector 1 but lost 5 tenths in Sector 2, so he's going to swing into the pit lane deciding it's not worth finishing that lap. Stars Orphan is going to be the next person to be setting a flyer here as well. He set a purple Sector 1, that's now been trumped by Immortal as well, so we'll jump over to the Ferrari next after the McLaren finishes this lap. It's all starting to kick off quite early here in Q3.
Jake also came out for an outlap, however, must have had some form of issue as did go back into the pits, however is now also back out on track. But Immortal, both McLarens now as a 1-2 in perspective so far. I'll be interested to see if that does stay that way.
I think, as I look through here, I think Immortal is going to take this. He's about 2 tenths up on where his opponents have been. We'll see if he's able to keep this clean through the final sector, finish this off nicely, hugging that right-hand side as tight as he absolutely possibly can. Crosses the line, does indeed set the fastest time.
He's so fast here in qualifying. 1:16.8 puts him over half a second ahead of both McLaren cars here Be interesting to see if anyone else can push into that 116 mark. But what a lap here from the Ferrari of Immortal today.
That is an absolute stunner. Early doors. Days Freak crosses the line with a 118.434.
You've got to look at that lap time and be intimidated by just the raw speed difference between him and the rest of the pack here.
Well, there's
What
one
a
man,
drive.
one man on the track who might not be, and that's Aaron, who crosses the line, and it's
Oh.
fast, but it's not fast enough.
It's fast, but it's still almost half a second down on Immortal. What a lap that was, that 116.8. That's going to prove tough to beat here today. We do have Jake, though, however, who is going to potentially look to trump this, just starting their hot lap now. Does take the first chicane very, very well. It's incredible to see the amount of speed you can actually hold here through this lap, or just this track in general in Italy. Imola is such a good track for maintaining speed.
It's absolutely enormous. As we were saying, it's very fast flowing. In what is in my head in a very similar way to Melbourne. So I think we'll see a lot of quite close racing here, but more than anything, we'll see a lot of mistakes and a lot of these drivers capitalising on those mistakes.
The other car still on the track. I think that was Aaron losing grip. Doesn't manage to get in Jake's way as he does manage to maintain control of that car again.
Jake has set 2 good sectors so far, but it's not going to be quite enough to topple Immortal, I don't think. Could put him on the front row of the grid though. Aaron's going to pull into the pits ahead of him. We'll see what Jake's able to do, but just about to cross the line now. Swings it around that little kink. It's Paul.
I did say he's to look out for here today. He's so quick around this track. Oh my, 116.7. Are we going to see any more 116s here on track?
Improved.
This is where it all comes.
Dramatically there. He was losing a couple tenths to Immortal through the first and second sector, pulled it back by 5 in sector 3 and just beat Immortal by 0.032 in sector 3, and that was all he needed. Just a tenth and a half faster than the Ferrari, and wow, things are getting exciting.
What do you reckon? Do you think we'll see any more 116s here in Q3? Obviously, I have 4 drivers, yet 2 set times.
Look, James is bombing it round now, and I think if anyone else is going to set one here in these first set of runs, it's going to be James. Stars always has time left in the tank. I think there's probably not many other names here I would say are going to be contending that much, but I reckon Stars could do it. I reckon James can do it as well.
I do think in the latter ends of Q3, if we do want to see anyone come through and upset that double red front line, it is going to be, as in football terms they would say, being squeaky bum time. As we're going to count to the last 4 minutes here of Q3. We do pick up with James, who is just coming through sector 3 now, just has the final 2 left-handers here, potentially set himself a lap to fight with some of these higher packs. We'll have to see how that goes from here in this Haas. He just comes around that final bend. Ooh, that's going to kill this lap. Still a 117 though. If he doesn't lose that on that corner, that could have been a...
That could have been Paul. That could have been Paul. It was very close.
That's going to hurt him in that Haas here today.
It is. It's very small margins in Division 5. It is getting tighter and tighter here every single week, and I think a quick slip and journey through the gravel there might have cost James a provisional pole position. He should just about have enough time to get back round, get some fresh tyres on, and set another lap here. But he's certainly going to be cutting it close. 2 drivers yet to set a time. You can see hunting him up the hill there is BVB Thor, who is yet to set one. He's on an out lap though, and we'll see what he's able to do as well. As Daniel just behind him is currently on a lap, although has had a spin by the looks of things.
Oh, Daniel, no. This is
again?
Not what we wanted to see here.
Same place.
This is,
has he beached it again? No, he's not. He's on the move. Okay.
Time, at least.
Days Freak has just pulled out of the pit lane to set another lap as well, as has Aaron, and Emotive Carrot is currently making their way through Sector 2.
So speaking of Aaron, it'll be interesting to see what kind of a time here his teammate can set as they just reach the halfway point of Sector 2. Does seem to be holding a good amount of speed here as we go through here into this turn. Does not beat it. He's about to take on this chicane here. It'll be interesting to see how they do take this. Again, does hold a good amount of speed. We could see an interesting lap here from Motive, possibly moving into that top 5. So very, very hard to get into that bracket right now. Daniel deciding to retire Star.
Thor setting, according to the game, a purple Sector 1. As they're going to continue to make their way around this lap. Bit of traffic now ahead of them. Most of these drivers out on track now. It's only James who isn't. And you'd imagine we're going to be seeing that Haas very soon. As is Daniel. He's in the pit lane as well. So Haas...
Daniel has retired.
Yeah, maybe happy enough with their performances. It seems that was slow from Thor. He struggled to get the power down there and keep the car pointing in the right direction. He's got 2 corners left to go. We'll see what he's able to do. It's going to be a one and only lap for the Alpine driver, you would have thought, unless he's going to go for another run on worn softs. He may as well, I suppose. There's no real harm in it. Crosses the line. It's only good enough for P7 so far, but we'll see if they're going to give this another go.
Going aboard the Days Freak here, who is just coming around the final bend here, looking to set themselves, I believe, starting a hot lap just now. Like keep my eyes on here in that Williams, obviously Days Freak, a very, very quick driver, however, does choose to start from relatively far back in the pack. Is actually qualifying today, so will be in the top 10 regardless. Now we'll have to see what kind of a time they set themselves here today.
Jake's on for another fast lap at the moment as well. Immortal is on a fast lap ahead of him too. James is on an out lap. Aaron, I think, going to be the next to cross the line. So we'll jump. It's going to be Aaron, then Immortal, then Jake, then Stars, then Mando, and then right at the very end is going to be James. But James isn't going to get around to start another lap here. Oh no, he is. No, he's not. No, there is confirmation that he's not going to be. So James is done. Aaron crosses the line. A 1:17.29 now is the fastest that he can do. Immortal's got 2 corners left to go here. And then things are going to get very tight. Jake might have been held up there by Days Freak. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure we'll see that from someone's point of view later on. Immortal crosses the line here. 1:16.873. Improves, but not enough to overtake Jake, who is going to cross the line. Takes a very wide line through that final corner again. He can't improve, so that's going to stay the same for him. Stars off for next. Needs almost an entire second here if he wants to take pole position. Improves, but not by enough. 4/10 doesn't even move him up the grid. XDG Mando, the final person to cross the line. Also improves, does take a position. Moves into the 116s, puts a McLaren and a Ferrari in the podium spots. I haven't forgotten. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. But not enough to unseat BZH Jake, who takes yet another pole position.
Mando and Immortal swap around. My prediction stands straight as I predicted. Alpha, McLaren, Ferrari. Interesting, we have 4 drivers here coming through the 116, so Aaron just about bridging it here by 3 thousandths of a second, getting a 1:16.997. Very, very fast drive here.
3rd pole position here for Jake this season.
Does tend to be a bit of a hero here in qualifying, obviously just very, very quick with no traffic, and does seem to be very, very quick as well when traffic does build up in actual race conditions, so interesting to see what we are looking like in the front of the pack here, as it is very, very close.
Indeed, there is a quick final rundown for you then. BZH Jake is going to lead them down to turn 1, but use 3 sets of tyres in that session. Immortal going to be lining up alongside him on the front row for Ferrari. XTG Mando P3, Aaron P4, James P5, Stars Orphan P6, BVB Thor P7, Daniel P8, Days Freak P9, and Emotive Carrot P10. Good qualifying from her as well to make it into Q3. I know we had a limited limited number of drivers, but still a really good performance. Good from Aaron as well, maintaining quite a high spot there. I know he said he wasn't sure how he pulled off that Abu Dhabi lap last week, but he's clearly got some speed in him, because that's another good showing here today.
Interesting to see that top 6 is as it is. I do not see, unless we see any major upsets, them 6 drivers changing. Whether that, I do believe the order could potentially change, but that top 6, with the difference we have seen there in qualifying pace, should be locked in.
You would imagine so. You would imagine so with where they are, but anything can change here. I think we're in for a very chaotic race, which I'm very much looking forward to. So these drivers will take a short break here. This is what they always do. Get the strategies ready. So we'll just talk to you. Any questions? Please drop them in. We're always happy to answer. And anything you want a wild prediction on, because that was good last week. We didn't get that late of a safety car last time out. It never happened, but we'll see. I can't make myself a broken record, but if there's a race, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen here. Favorite car launch. Favorite car launch. We discussed this last week, actually, didn't we? We spoke about liveries.
We have seen some new ones since.
There has. AlphaTauri's was out before. Aston Martin and
McLaren.
Yeah, Aston Martin, McLaren, and Ferrari were this week, I think, since last time. I quite like the AlphaTauri. I quite like the reveal. Considering they have had what I think is probably the biggest change to a livery.
Sure.
I appreciated that it was short and sweet from them, and they didn't mess around. I quite like AlphaTauris. I know it's one that's has been hated a little bit so far, but I quite like it.
It's very on the fence. It's giving very divisive opinions. I am a big fan of the new McLaren. The MCL60 is beautiful. I do also like the Google Chrome wheels. They're a nice touch.
I like the Google Chrome wheels as well. I'm sad. I think I said this last time. I'm sad we're losing the Pokeball wheels on the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it's going to be a big hit.
But no, the Chrome wheels look good to me. I'm disappointed we didn't get the Kiwi. I thought we'd see a Kiwi on there, but maybe for some race the McLaren will bring it back. We'll do a proper Bruce McLaren tribute thing, and we'll get the Kiwi back. What else?
Interesting, the MCL60 is being driven by the youngest team on the grid, with Lando and Oscar Piastri as well. Be interested to see how they do in this coming season. I think Oscar Piastri will surprise a lot of people in that McLaren.
Probably better than Liam. I'm sorry, Liam. I shouldn't say that. That's really harsh for a commentator to say. That's low. Liam, please come back and race again. I can't keep saying every week that you haven't finished one. It's I can't, but I'm gonna keep doing it until. Champion. True. He is indeed the people's champion. I need some comeback. Hey, Biscuits, Wee Biscuits has finished on the podium this season. I think, right? Where is he? Yeah, he has. I was looking through the thing that I couldn't find it. Finished P3. You can do it again. Again, if there's a race for a crazy finish here, it's going to be this one. I think this is going to be mental. I think
always full of surprises.
2 McLarens and a Ferrari is a safe prediction. This is not going to be a safe race. No. Anything could happen here. This is going to be absolute carnage. Done it at Jeddah. Yeah, see, there you go. You had a great comeback then as well. Look, anything is possible here. Anything is possible. Keep the head down. That's the key.
Whilst we are waiting, I do have a question for you, Mr. Harvey.
I would love to hear it.
Favourite takeaway? Hit me.
Favourite takeaway?
Yeah, man.
Oh, we love getting completely off topic in Div 5. This is what people sign up for. Favourite takeaway? I just give me the grubbiest pizza you can find.
Ooh, like a kebab shop pizza.
Yeah, somewhere that doesn't advertise that they do pizzas.
A real grease ball.
Yeah. You know the one.
I like it. They're the ones that I like to pick up on the way back from the club. A very good little treat.
Because Domino's is the worst. I want to make that clear. Domino's.
I completely agree.
Domino's is grim.
The crust is soft.
It's so bad. Domino's is grim. So you gotta get. I will say what people miss out on, and this is something I've discussed many a time. Over here in the glorious land of Northern Ireland, we have 4-star pizza. 4-star pizza only exists in Northern Ireland, and it is the best pizza.
Oh, really?
So someone needs to get on with franchising one of them over in England, because you're missing out.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, one that gets criminally slept on is Papa John's. Papa John's is good, and I'll not hear otherwise.
I used to, again, completely off topic. I'm well aware formation lap is going on here, but we will get back to it very shortly. Used to be a Burnley season ticket holder. There was a Papa John's just around the corner from the stadium. Beautiful pizza. That is after a just 2 hours in the pissing rain and wind at the turf.
Usually a loss as well.
A Papa John, well, or a draw. A Papa John's is what? Hey, 17 in a row. All right, we're having a season.
Vincent Company's Burnley ball is impressive. I'll give you that.
Exactly. A Papa John's was just the ticket. I will. Yeah, I agree. Are we talking about this? We're talking about pizza because we're in Italy. That's why we're talking about pizza. It is relevant. Again, this is the high level of commentary you tune into Division 5 for. You know what you're coming here for. And we thank you for it.
As always.
We thank you for it. I cannot wait to see what ungodly things are going to happen in this race. Silky, it would be an honour if you would commentate as they head down to turn 1 here and try and make sense of the carnage that's about to unfold.
Okay, so obviously we do have Alves in 15th, Wee Biscuit in 14th, Kizzo coming through in 13th here in the Ferrari, RSA Bocadillon in P12 in the Red Bull, then we have Brit in the Alpha, and then here into the points we have Mercedes of Emotive Carrot, followed up by Days Freak, Daniel P45 in P8, here in P7 we have the Alpine of DIV Thor, followed by the McLaren of Stars in an expected position of around the 5th area, which seems to be where he loves to stay, followed by the Haas of James, then we have Aaron in the Mercedes, and then the final 3, the podium of Mando, Immortal and Jake as the lights come on here. And it's lights out, and away we go here in Imola, in RSF1 Division 5, as we do pick up the car of Mando, who already gets an overtake on Immortal. Daniel flying up the pack as well, into P7.
Nearly getting shoved off track to the left-hand side by the Haas of James there. Stars Orford remaining in P6. Thor moving up to P8, Daniel in P7.
Good battle here between Dion and Thor, almost contact there as we come through into Sector 2 already. Would have been a shame to see. Aaron is chewing down the heels of James though, looking to get himself an overtake here to get himself into P4 early on.
It's very much up the backside. There seems to be a car drifting a little wide there. I think that's Daniel. Managed to get back on track, lost a position out to RSA Bocadillon though. There we go. I told you we were going to see some mistakes. James has made one, Aaron's capitalised, and I think that's going to be the story of this race for most of these drivers.
I do believe with the amount of DRS we're going to see as well, once that does become enabled, that's where all the real action is going to begin, as these drivers do look to push through each other and climb up the podium here. And you still look at Dion though, obviously losing a place to him.
Yeah, Wee Biscuits up a huge 4 positions already on this opening lap on the medium tyres. Make that 5 positions as they get to the line, going side by side with Emotive Carrot here, all the way down to turn 1. They're very far away from each other, maybe to make sure that Brick Grit behind doesn't get any slipstream. There's a Red Bull and a Haas bumping wheels. There's an Alpine and a Mercedes bumping wheels, and Emotive Carrot finds themselves off in the gravel trap.
Biscuit has made their way into the points already. Very, very good start. We'll be interested to see if they can keep this up.
There's a Haas off as well. Daniel P45 all the way off to the left-hand side there.
Daniel has now gone very, very wide, off of 2 turns already now, 2 laps in. I don't know whether that's them being pushed off the grid or what, but very, very interesting. Also interesting, Days Freak, the only driver here, has chosen not to start on mediums, has started with them hards here in the Williams.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working particularly well so far, but...
You say that as they do just get an overtake on Kizzo, moving themselves into P11.
Ooh.
But doesn't give it up. Leaves it wide though. Does look like they might get the overtake here again.
Kizzo is pulling.
That's not leaving you any space there.
Kizzo completely cut the chicane, could barely get the car slowed down before they hit the wall. I think if the Ferrari had kept that position, Days Freak would have been making some calls to the stewards to try and get it back. Kizzo's going to try and chase down the Williams though. No DRS, it's been activated, but they won't get it just yet. Just the next lap. Just the one zone here around this track, of course. Nearly loses the car. Kizzo just about gets it pointing the right way, but off in the grass. Completely blocks off Daniel there as well, who I'm sure is not entirely happy about that move.
Obviously, Daniel has plummeted down, having left two bends very, very wide. The last thing they're going to want is to be interrupted by cars potentially blocking them off, trying to regain a position into the points here. You do see Immortal looking at Mando here, as we see Aaron also looking at Immortal. I do think this top five right now is still very close. Jake, however, flying away with a 2-second lead right now.
Yeah, Jake pulling a strategy that we've seen many times so far this season. We saw it in round one. We certainly saw it at Abu Dhabi as well. If you lead in the race, just get away. Get away from everybody else. Use your ERS if you have to.
Both Alpines. Very, very aggressive driving from both Alpine drivers. Have seen 2 bumps already. Hopefully we don't see any potential racing incidents between the 2 teammates here, forcing both out of the race. As almost loses his car coming through the final turn of lap 3.
They're both going to have DRS though, and Boca Dion is not, so he could be an absolute sitting duck here. Is this going to be a double overtake for Alpine heading down into turn 2? Doesn't look like it just yet. Kizolad retires from this. Oh, there's big contact further down. There's contact between Daniel and Kizzo. Daniel's somehow still in this race. Kizzo is absolutely not. Daniel has to pull right onto the track. There's a full safety car on lap 4 of this race.
Kizzo losing both front wheels. Oh my word. Oh my word. That's going to do Jake no favours though, having to now give up that 3.5-second lead that he had on Mando because of the safety car. But obviously now the pack is going to be a lot closer together. We do see a big difference here between 12th and the people racing for the points here. That's now going to come down with the safety car being in play. So basically a full restart from that 4. We did expect to see it early on, however I wasn't expecting DNF. So that was a surprise.
Yeah, big crash on the front straight. Hopefully we'll see some info on that soon. But Daniel remains in this race for now. Kizolad out.
Probably going to have some Daniel pit here, as obviously there was a rather large amount of impact. That is going to do his car no favours here. Hopefully no damage towards either his undercarriage or his rear wheel. But obviously we'll see as he just approaches the pit lane now what his decision is in this situation. Oh, Carrot picking up a penalty under safety car. Yeah, straight into the pits here for Daniel today.
Yeah, expected. Gives Daniel a bit of an opportunity to maybe mix up the strategy slightly. Started this race on mediums, and it looks to be hard tyres. It is indeed hard tyres for the Haas, so I think we'll probably struggle to make those last all the way until the end of the race, but that's the way to do it. Maybe hards and then a quick blast on the softs at the end. Could we see that from Daniel?
I could see potentially maybe like a final 7-lap push on them soft tyres, pit around the 25-lap mark and really try to climb in the latter end of this race.
there's a look at your race stories so far. Wee Biscuit's definitely the biggest gainer so far, up 6 positions from starting right down the bottom of the field, now up into P8. RSF1 ahead of them, up 5 positions. Immortal and Mando, the only 2 out of the top 6 to have changed, and they've just swapped around, both still on the podium, ruining your prediction, Silky, taking it away from you.
It's so close but so far. If I just have Mando and Immortal swap it around, I'm all good to go. Right there.
I don't think that's out of the question just yet. I'm sure we'll see it quite soon here. There's going to be a lot of feisty battles further down this field, I am sure. Jake has plenty of experience in this league now of leading safety car restarts. We're just waiting for Daniel to catch up to the back of the field, which he will do shortly. There is a car in the pit lane though, and it's Dave's Freak, who's deciding to swap onto a new set of tyres. Started this race on hard, so you imagine it's going to be the mediums. That is an interesting piece of info that has just come through there. So while the temperature at the moment on track seems to be quite warm, Mando and the McLaren team reporting that rain is due in 10 to 15 minutes.
Rain is due. Oh, this could be interesting. Another wet track here. Obviously, we saw how that went in Canada. There was absolute carnage. They got wet.
Mediums, certainly the right call then from this point. I think that's a good decision from Dave's Free. You can maybe make the softs last long enough, 10-15 minutes, but I think mediums are probably the safe bet. You can take them a few laps into the wet as well before you need to pit, and make sure you're on the inters in the right condition. It is very, very sunny out there though. There is not a hint of rain as it stands, so we'll see how accurate those. I mean, I cannot see a cloud,
No.
So we'll see how accurate those weather reports are. Safety car in this lap though, and Jake will lead the way once again.
If you want your prediction to be correct, we're going to need to see a very, very good drive here from Stars, as he is now currently down in P6, where he started in qualifying. Obviously, does have some very quick drivers in front of him as well, so it is going to be an issue trying to get that DRS going.
If anyone's going to do it, that's the man I can rely on.
Mr. Reliable Stars. Very impressive drives here from Bocadion and Biscuits, though, both gaining 5 and 6 places respectively so far. Capitalising on an earlier incident between Daniel and Kizzo, and obviously some mistakes from these drivers in the back of the pack as well.
Jake leaving it as late as he possibly can. It is a long old run down to turn 1 here. A few of these cars at the top of the grid getting side by side, but they've settled down a little bit more now. Jake's going to lead them comfortably through. Then Mando, then Immortal, then Aaron, then comes James, then Stars, who's got Bocadion up his rear end, but doesn't look to be in a position to make a move just yet. That Red Bull, though, is getting very close to that McLaren gearbox, though, and maybe we will see a move from the South African as they make their way down to the first hairpin. Not going to be quite close enough. Thinking about it though, starting to find if he can find a space for his nose in there. Yellow flags flying, and
he does get the overtake on Dion here, now putting themselves into peace, and we might see some contact here possibly. Oh no, does manage to avoid the contact. Stars obviously so good at defending, it's going to be very difficult for this Alpine and the Red Bull to get by him here.
Yeah, extremely. I think Wee Biscuits is going to have to hope and pray for a mistake from Stars off, and it's possible. As you say, I think his defending is probably the strongest of any driver in the field. But these mistakes happen, and especially if we see some wet conditions come into play, I would bet on something going wrong. Surely he can't have another perfect race.
I do think this race, if we do see the rain that is predicted by the McLaren team, is going to come down on who gets the most optimal transition onto the inters, because that could make or break a race here if someone decides to either pit too early or too late here.
Really interesting there, just briefly riding on board with Aaron. Used overtake out of the final turn just to make sure he got as good of a run as Immortal did. But as they got to about halfway down the straight, downshifted to 7th gear just to make sure he didn't catch up too much. So Aaron at the moment happy enough to sit behind Immortal and not go for any moves just yet, as there's carnage, and there goes Immortal. He's off the track completely. There's more cars spun off behind, and Aaron will happily take that position, no problem at all.
Oh my word. Immortal's dropped now out of the points into P11. That is criminal. Oh my word. Biscuits also up into P6 now, by the way, due to this. What a race so far, gaining 8 positions so far.
Wee Biscuits having an absolute stunner of a performance today. Obviously, Quali did not... Well, I say it's tough to say that Quali didn't go the way Wee Biscuits hoped, because it wasn't his fault, and he did top the Q1 timing sheet. So you can't really argue that he did much wrong. He's certainly making up for the faults of the game now, though, finding himself up in P6, as you say, up 8 positions. What a drive so far.
Fantastic drive here from the Alpine of Wee Biscuits. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep this up and potentially start to rival some of these drivers pushing for that podium. Obviously,
BVB.
Our stars first.
Oh, Thor got right up the inside of Bocadillon there, decided to pull out just before they lunged down into turn 2. I think that was probably the right call to make. As we've seen, the best way to get past here is to wait for your opponents to make mistakes. Stars Orphan has Wee Biscuits though to worry about there, and that's a battle I'm very much interested in seeing how this is going to unfold.
Biscuits does have DRS here as he looks to break down this distance that McLaren is trying to make.
Oh, Thor and Dion going side by side. That is an absolutely stunning move from the German to get past Bocadillon there. Stuck it in a place where he really shouldn't have. Hung it around the left-hand side of the double right-hander. What a drive from Thor.
It looks like both Alpines here are looking to show what they're made of here today, as we can see a very, very impressive drive here from both drivers.
Yeah, sending a message maybe saying that, yeah, we've lost we've lost Modular Cat, and so
we
what?
don't need Modular Cat.
This is them really laying down the gauntlet and showing their stripes now, and it is a beautiful performance so far. Obviously, we've lost Immortal off the podium, still in this race, and Aaron has decided that he wants to give Mando a go now as well. He's caught up nice and quick.
So Aaron is chasing down Mando, only had a 0.2 seconds deficit on him a second ago, has obviously increased since then, but Aaron's going to have DRS here, Mando's not. This is where it all comes down to. This is crunch time here for Aaron as he looks to get into P2.
Wee Biscuits doing a phenomenal job here as well of catching up to XTG Mando. To Stars Orphan. I'm just watching both McLaren battles and getting very confused now. He's gaining a lot of time through this second sector in particular.
Aaron could get an overtake there. Doesn't decide to go for the move, but is staying very, very close here to
look, we saw him do it against Immortal, as Wee Biscuits actually has got a phenomenal run off Orphan, but again, backs off because they don't need to make the move here. They know when they can get the overtake done, and he's going to do it there instead. Again, another opportunity to get past, doesn't take it. Stars Orphan really struggling on these tyres. Aaron is surely going to get the move done here now. Absolutely is. Look at the speed difference between himself and Mando, who uses all of his ERS, but can't... or just about holds him off. There's a bump there from Wee Biscuits on the back of Stars. Yeah, a little bit of contact made. I think Wee Biscuits had more speed than he really thought. Stars took a bit of a bump, but managed to keep the car pointing the right way. Motive Carrot got past Bocadillon there, who's dropped all the way back, and now has a Haas to worry about as well.
Daniel obviously looking to reclaim his way further up the points, having had that incident very, very, very early on the track. However, so has Immortal, who is now looking to fight some of these drivers to get back into the points here. See what Daniel can do here on the Red Bull of Dion, and he's absolute failing right now. Also, though, this case isn't going to do him any good with Immortal on his heels. We know Immortal has that speed on him. Yeah,
Daniel on the hard tyres as well.
Just see if he can get himself a double overtake here. We also didn't see Immortal go into the pits after his incident, so still out on the same tyres after that spin out. is not going to do him any favours. Aaron,
yeah.
Aaron gets the move on Mando.
Beautiful little move way before the corner as well. So Mando must have had an absolutely shocking run out of that turn. We've got to jump back over though straight away to Daniel as he is going to get past Bocadion here. But can the Red Bull hold off the Ferrari as well? Maybe not going to get the move done just yet. Oh no, it's way out ahead. Yeah, as they make their way into the chicane there. No battery left though for Daniel. He's used all of his ERS, so maybe Dion is going to try and slip back past.
He has pushed that car to its limits there to get that overtake on Dion. It might have been sooner than he would have liked now, seeing as that ERS is low. Dion does look to have half a tank left. Is he going to start using it now as he tries to reclaim his position in 9th place?
It looked like Immortal was considering a move around the outside of the Red Bull there, but ended up doing a bit of a Tokyo drift through the left-hander. He's got the car back under control now, though. Hasn't lost any positions because of it, but yeah, it's a bit of a comfortable moment there for the Ferrari driver, I'm sure.
Does now put Days Freak in DRS range, though, and Days Freak, as we've seen, does love an overtake. That'll be interesting to see if Immortal does end up dropping further down the grid here, as Days does look to chase him down here.
James is catching Mando as well down the front stretch, but he's not going to get an overtake put in this time. Bocadion is within DRS range of Daniel, but as is Immortal, and then Days Freak behind him. We're going to watch the last of those drivers down into this turn, but I think that DRS train is just going to be too powerful for anyone to make any moves just yet. We could do with some rain or something to spice these things up. That sky is looking a little darker, if you ask me.
Those aren't the crystal clear skies we saw here in Imola at the start of the day. This could be very, very interesting. There's such a big gap right now between 4th and the rest of the pack. It'll be interesting to see if the rain does tend to start pulling this a bit closer together, as we are seeing a lot of 2-second.
Oh, that's big.
Drivers here. Stars put up a big penalty there.
That is huge. Days Freak there tried to make a little bit of a move on Immortal, couldn't quite make it happen, but in the meantime, Stars Orphan for McLaren has picked up a 3-second time penalty, which at the moment is not going to relegate him, but if we are going to see another safety car, which is very much possible, it could create some more drama. Aaron has 2 cars to defend from now. He's got XTG Mando behind him, who's now going to be alongside him, and might just... but he's still alongside, but not quite in front just yet. James is going to be looking to pick up the pieces from this as well, but can't make anything happen. They're all pretty much out of ERS. Immortals managed to get past Bocadion as well into turn 1 there.
It's interesting to see that all of the latter parts of the points are so far away from each other. All of the action right now seems to be both in the front and back of the grid here, as we now see Dion potentially make a move here on Immortal. Immortal doesn't give him any space though coming through that turn. Ooh, however, we do see Days Freak get the overtake on Dion, who took that turn just a little bit too wide and is now going to allow Freak and Immortal to battle it out again for that 10 spot to get themselves into the points.
Days Freak side by side again though with Bocadion. There's contact made, but they both just about survive it. Days Freak is loving overtakes through that hairpin. He's flinging it up the inside every single time, forcing people to run out wide, and it's working. It's proved effective so far. I think he's overtaken people there more than anywhere else on the track, which, considering there's a massive front straight here, is quite impressive. BZH Jake into the pit lane. Aaron follows him. Mando and James stay out. Surely that can't be inters for them, but maybe they think the rain's not coming.
It's a very early swap. It looks like Jake's going on to hards here, and we do see Aaron go on to hards as well. So I'll be interested to see if the rain does come through. That could potentially hinder their drives here. Obviously, they had a very, very impressive showing in P1 and P2. Obviously, with Aaron managing to defend Mando on multiple occasions after securing the overtake. So hopefully we don't see rain here to potentially ruin these guys' race.
What is nice to see, though, is a lot of split strategies here. You've got the McLarens doing a couple different things. You've got, I believe, the Alpines doing a couple different things as well. It's nice to see a bit more of a spread rather than double stacks, and this could be quite interesting. Brick Grit has pit as well, so that is about half the field now have gone onto a new set of tyres. Yeah, clearly quite confident then with the hards on for Jake, who you can see lurking behind Dion at the moment. Clearly confident that the rain is not coming, but those clouds are dark. I'm surprised. I'm surprised these guys have gone for the hards. I would maybe have expected another set of mediums to go onto a set of softs as a possibility. It's big calls from these guys.
Speaking of interesting, after coming out the pits, I have noticed that Brit is now on softs, hopefully going to try to push their way back up into the points. Obviously being sat in 14th right now with a 6-second deficit. All they need is a safety car, and this could be very impressive. There's a lot of action here towards the front. DIV has now put themselves into second with all of these drivers looking to pit. It'll be interesting if any of these guys decide to go into inters. It does not look like it, as most of them are just choosing to stick it out on these hards.
Jake has extended his lead massively, but Aaron has I think, moved ahead there a position. He's now ahead of Mando. So undercut working for all drivers. That is a huge lead that Jake has now. It's almost 6.5 seconds over Mando. So really good stuff from him. Definitely the right call in terms of strategy. Now Mando's managed to pull away from James a little bit too, but those clouds worry me, especially dead ahead of them now. They are looking dark, and I'm not too confident that we're going to see the second half of this race now go ahead without a single drop of rain.
I do think these clouds are going to break, and we are going to start to see a downpour coming into the late 20s of the track, which could cause issues right towards the end. James picking up a 3-second penalty as well.
Not the best from him. That's disappointing for the Haas driver.
Fastest lap from Jacob at 1:18.9. Oh my! He's looking to chase down these two drivers here, both 12 and 11 laps. Warm tyres respectively. Is hot on the heels here of Days Freak. Does have DRS as well.
Daniel.
Oh, did he get the overtake? It's very, very close. Is that contact? That's contact.
Oh, it's Days Freak who loses out. He's got to be careful. He's got Aaron closing in quickly as well.
Does look like Days Freak turned into him, I'll be honest. But obviously we'll have to see how that gets reviewed later on today. It's now looking to chase down Daniel, who is in P1. Does seem to pit.
It is getting very dark. It is getting very dark. If Daniel can somehow stay ahead here, because he's pit. These aren't hard tyres that he started the race on. He did have a pit stop after his collision with Kizola. There's a 3-car pile up further down the field as well. Stars Orphans had a collision with Alves, who is another driver who is on old tyres, from this race. I think if Daniel can stay ahead here, this rain is coming. It is definitely coming, and he can pit here and stay way ahead of the field. He's going to have Jake up alongside him here, and Jake is going to get ahead, but Daniel could be on for a podium if he plays his cards right here.
I don't know if it is just my camera angle or if there is just problems with the graphics on this game, but it does look like there are some water drops on Alves' car. So we could potentially see the water starting to break now.
I can't believe
that could just be this game having bad graphical issues because it is F1.
I can't believe so many of these drivers have gone onto the hards when well, maybe they didn't get the message from the engineer. It's clear that someone checked, but doesn't seem to be happening. I can see the flashes in the background, which usually means in a few seconds' time we will see the first drops. Alves pits, that's because he had his collision with Stars, but maybe this is going to be an early swap onto the Inters. It is going to be an early swap onto the Inters for the Red Bull. That's a brave call. You love to see it. There are drops falling. James's car is certainly experiencing some rain now. This back sector of the track is feeling it. The cars are sliding. Someone's got to make the move here. Daniel, what a drive so far. Wee Biscuits is all the way up here as well. James is going to get held. There's going to be a double stack here unless he's going to commit. Jake stays out. Daniel stays out. Aaron going to stay out as well by the looks of things. So all these guys not making the change yet. I think that's brave from some of them. This rain could come down very quickly here, but a lot of these drivers going to profit dramatically. Even Dave's Freak, who's had it coming together and obviously lost a few positions here, is still going to be up in P7.
Very, very impressive from Daniel to decide to stay out on these 14 lap born hards. Honestly, if he pits in the next couple of laps when this rain starts to really get heavy, we could see him potentially stay in this upper half of the grid, which is very, very impressive from him so far, especially considering the impact that he did have earlier on in this race, having already pitted now.
We'll watch on from above as these drivers try to very cautiously make their way around the track here and do their best not to spin. Alves picks up a 3-second time penalty. Brick Grit has gone for the early pit stop as well onto the inters. Again, survival is the key here. You've got to make it to a stage where pitting onto the inters is the right move. Alves has lost 2 seconds this lap, so clearly gone a little bit too early. Smart then from Daniel to stay out. They're coming around to the pit lane again now, but Jake is once again going to stay out.
I don't think it's the right call for at least another 2 or 3 laps. I think you can still get a lot out of these hards before you decide to switch to inters. I don't think there's enough water on the track to warrant switching so early. So
no,
it's a smart from these drivers to stick on the hards.
I agree. The rain does seem to be fairly light. Wee Biscuits has managed to get past James on track there, which
now.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world for the Haas driver, as we were saying. He's probably going to lose out to a double stack regardless. XDG Mando is right up the rear end of Aaron here as well. I'm going to keep an eye on this battle unfolding as well. A lot of these teams getting...
He wants out of that turn, though.
A lot of these drivers getting very close to each other now. Emotive Carrots decided to pit and swap to the intermediate tyres too. Gonna be
it's ridiculous already. 6 seconds now. Oh my word.
Just watching here now. So Brick Grit is 1 minute 6 seconds off the leader. We'll see if that gap starts to drop. We're not in intermediate tyre conditions yet, though. I think that's quite clear, even from the outside view camera. It's not time, and Brick Grit is losing a lot of time to his teammate, who's closing in to lap him shortly.
This fight for second is very interesting, with both Aaron and Mando putting the pressure onto Daniel now. Obviously hasn't pitted, and these tyres are showing a lot of wear, and it's starting to show as Aaron and Mando get closer and closer every single turn. Just can't seem to get the grip out of these wheels to go past, as it now looks like Aaron gets the overtake. We could potentially see Mando get the overtake here too, coming around this hairpin. Goes through the inside, is going to get the overtake, just can't get the grip out of them tyres. Daniel might want to start looking at pitting now that his car is starting to struggle now on these hards. Saying that though, he is going to look at Mando here.
The rain is certainly getting heavier, but Daniel is certainly starting to struggle as well. Regardless, with the race that he's had and the issue, the incident that he's had early on there with Kizolad, I think he's going to want to stay out here as long as he possibly can. Yellow flag's flying. That's just for the lapped car of Alves, though. Nothing to worry about further down the field. I think he wants to stay out as long as he can here, because if he drops behind James, it's only going to slow him up further. This is the worst thing that James could have possibly wanted, to be honest. But it's going all right so far for Daniel. Wee Biscuits looked to be closing in quite quickly here, but then had a bit of a moment coming out of the final turn, so he's not going to get past the Haas on the first time of asking here. Maybe Daniel hoping for a safety car or something as well. I'm sure Jake would be quite pleased about that. This rain is certainly getting harder and harder now as Dave's Freak pulls into the pit lane. That's going to be a call for inters. No, mediums. A fresh set of mediums for Dave's Freak. as Daniel, oh, beautiful move there from Wee Biscuits to get into a position to swing that Alpine up the inside. That is stunning stuff. So not only is he carving his way through the field, he's doing it with some fantastic overtakes as well. We're going to watch that one back because that was truly stunning stuff. Look at him. He sees that Daniel is going to switch over to that right-hand side there, so he pulls it left, swings it through. Absolutely fantastic from Wee Biscuits.
That's
DRS disabled. Oh, and there's a spin, and Alves is out. He's crashed. He's crashed coming through sector 2 in that fast area. It's a full safety car as Jake missed it. Jake's missed it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, he's not. He's not. It's Brick Grit who's missed it. Oh, my days. My heart sank there completely. Jake is going to get in. No, he's not going to pit.
Oh, my God. Is he going to get another lap out before he decides to pit? This is an interesting approach here.
That is one of the biggest calls I have seen in a very long time. Jake hasn't pit. Aaron has. Mando has. Wee Biscuits has. Daniel has. James has. I'm sure if you give it another couple seconds, we're going to see Thor pitting as well. Has Jake and the Alfa Romeo team thrown this away? Thor is going to pit as well. Stars is going to back off and pit as well. Immortal's going to pit. Jake might have made an absolutely stunning call, or the worst in Division 5 history. Mando's gone onto the softs.
Oh my word.
Mando is on the soft compound tyres. Okay, there is all manner of things happening now. Bocadillo's not pit. He's staying out on 7-lap-old hards that he's going to have to make last in rainy, no DRS conditions. That's not happening. Dave's Freak just pit for a fresh set of mediums. He could take those to the end of the race. It's going to be about 7 racing laps. It's not going to be easy, but he could make it happen. He's just got to survive. Daniel has a penalty, which is going to drop him a few positions, but Jake's on hards, 8-lap-old hards, and he's caught the safety car as well. He's not even pulling away.
Immortals also swapped onto mediums as opposed to inters here. I don't know if these drivers seem to think that the rain isn't heavy enough to warrant them obviously switching over, but this could be a big decision from both of these drivers here. We could potentially see Immortal fly up the pack, having seen the inters lose a lot of time so far. We could see Jake just drop down if we do start to see a flash storm here in these final 9 laps. Oh my word.
Jake's staying out.
Always full of action.
Jake is staying out. He's staying out.
I think he's confirmed it, and I think he wants to finish this race on these hards.
Yeah. The rain must be... I mean, it's a tough decision, right? Because I will agree with what's been said. Oh, Immortal.
Daniel seems to... Oh, Daniel's going to the pits. He's... Well, what off of 1 lap inters? Why do you think? Is he drive-through penalty? No, not a drive-through penalty.
He can't. No, he can't serve a drive-through. And did he have a 5-second penalty?
He's swapping on softs. He's gone off of the inters. He's onto the softs.
Is Thor going to do the same?
Thor's onto mediums.
Thor's onto...
See a lot of drivers who switch off of the inters. Very interesting call.
I think it's a fair call that it is not that rainy, but the fact that DRS has been disabled usually means we're at the point where the inters are a grippier set of tyres. I 100% agree that it is not the wettest conditions we've ever seen, but we're going quite slowly at the moment, and I think as this rain, because it is getting heavier, it doesn't seem to be clearing up. I think we could see some real bad conditions here. This is one of the most mixed up grids I have seen in a very long time.
I think the one place where it's going to really show whether the inters were the right call or not is going to be that hairpin at the start of Sector 2. That, I think, is going to be where a lot of these drivers are going to gain a lot of time if the weather conditions do continue to worsen here. However, if they don't, this could be an incredibly smart move here from Jake and Mando to potentially secure themselves a 1-2.
And I think the battle here that you have to watch is Wee Biscuits versus Mando.
Sure.
One on the inters, one on the hard, one on the soft. Sorry, that is going to be a a very heated start or restart, sorry, to be keeping track of. Bocadion is going to pit off 8-lap all hards. That is definitely the right call, and is hopefully going to get out ahead of a few of those drivers too.
Onto the Inters.
Onto the Inters.
So we've got around half the grid here on Inters, and the rest are deciding to stick it out with the regular tyres here, whether that be hards, mediums, or softs. We do have 2 drivers now on softs. Jake's the only driver on the grid here left on hards.
I'm going to agree. I think this is intermediate tyre conditions, but come on, Mando. Fresh softs that he somehow needs to make last 10 laps. But if he does it, he'll be my hero. I want to interview the man. That's all I have to say. I want to interview him. Aaron, again, an absolute blinder of performance, but wee biscuits. Regardless of how he finishes here, he's certainly got my vote for driver of the day. It's absolutely phenomenal stuff.
It's now, what, 12 positions climbed? If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Oh, my word. 11 positions, sorry, my bad. Good start from P14. Just have a look at the penalties right now. All of the penalties do seem to be in the middle of the grid, all between 6th and 9th, so it doesn't look like it's going to affect them as of now, but as they start to break away from each other, we could potentially see these penalties come into play. Jake is leaving it very, very slow here, completely holding up the rest of the pack.
Yeah, well, he left it very late. He's probably waiting partially here for his teammate to catch up to. But Jake went about as late as I have ever seen. I mean, they were practically on top of the start-finish line when he slammed the go pedal into the floor here on the last restart. So we'll see if he does the same, or if he tries to mix it up this time to try and catch a few people off guard.
As well.
Yeah, that's definitely the right call there. Driver's getting very wide. Jake goes now. It's a good reaction from Aaron, and a little bit of a slow one from Wee Biscuits.
So quick.
Very slow one from Mando though as well. Aaron has got ahead. Is he going to make that move stick? He certainly is, surely, because the grip is not going to be there. Jake drifts wide. Aaron's in the gravel. They bump. Mando's going to try and capitalise from all of this. Can't make it happen. He's got to drop back. Dave's freaks up to P5. Is he going to go up the inside of Mando? He's certainly going to give it a go, and he's certainly going to get it done as well. Into the gravel, though. Loses out on the position once again, and 3 more to boot. Oh. James and Dave's freak tangling further back. Daniel is up into P8 and on his own as well. Wow.
The decision to get off of those inters, not go onto the inters, has cost Jake massively here. Already dropping 2 places now halfway around the first lap of racing. Is potentially going to lose a place now to Mando as well, who's eyeing him up. Is just going to get by him with ease down. Oh, a potential bump there.
Definitely a bump. Contact made between them, as Stars Orphan taking a trip over the curbs behind them as well. He's on the Inters, so Inters seeming to be the right call. There's a 4-car pile-up further back. Dave's Freak has made contact with, I think, Thor and Bocadion. Oh no, Thor has escaped that one this time. There's a car that's very far off in the gravel to the right-hand side, and that's Daniel on the soft, so the soft's not working either. How is Jake still in this race on those tyres? The Alfa Romeo of BZH Jake is going to get overtaken by both McLarens into turn 1 here if he's not careful. Mando's had a run onto the grass. He's now in danger. Oh no! Stars Orphan hits him, spins Jake out completely. He's going the wrong way. That could be a championship defining moment here in Division 5. Oh no, it was all going so well for McLaren, and Stars has completely, he's misjudged his braking point entirely, and absolutely ram-raided him. Oh no.
He has no reason to accelerate there. What is he doing?
Emotive Carrot is in P5. How has that occurred? There is so much here to keep track of. Wee Biscuit is in P2. Aaron is leading another Grand Prix, the second race in a row. He said he wasn't confident at all this time out. Immortal's up in P7. He's trying to overtake Brickgrit, who's in P6. How is Brickgrit in P6? He was last at the start of the last lap. There is so much drama unfolding. I say this as Daniel's going to try and make a move. Oh my days. Daniel nearly...
Immortal here. Oh my word.
Daniel nearly finds himself in the gravel as well. Motive Cara is closing up rapidly on the back of XTG Mando and might actually get this move done. The Inter's clearly the right decision. Oh no, Motive Cara nearly loses it going through the first turn there. Takes way too much of the grass on the right hand side. I mean, this is what we wanted. This is what we signed up for. But this is proving to be absolutely incredible stuff. I mean, we have every compound of tyre bar the wets on display at the moment. I've never seen anything like it.
The expected carnage here at Imola, but not this. This is sensational racing here today. Carrot still gaining on Mando. Mando is not getting any form of space here. Obviously, Carrot would have DRS had it been enabled in the wet, but obviously with that not being the case, he's just going to take advantage of these inters and potentially try to make a move here on Mando.
It's calmed down a little. I can see Daniel dropping off here, so I'm going to try and give you a really quick recap of where we're at as Thor sends it from a football field back on Daniel, and is maybe going to get this move eventually. I'm not sure if that... Oh, no! Oh, he's out! He's out completely! There's absolute carnage. There's another safety car. Is that one virtual? It seems to be, and I think it's going to stay that way. We'll watch that one back as... Oh, no. Daniel was on the right-hand side. They were going side by side all the way down to this left-hander. He taps the wheel, loses it on the wall. I cannot believe what we are witnessing in this race. This is that a full... It's a full safety car. We are going to have, for the second time in Division 5 this season, one lap of racing to finish this Grand Prix. It's going to be in wet conditions.
Jake is on soft. Jake is on soft.
No, it's not even wet conditions. There's no rain. It's dry.
Jake is on soft. Can we see a late upset here?
Is weeping. XTG Mando might be leading this Grand Prix. And I tell you what, if the people who are on the intermediates pit, which they should do, will leave a podium of a McLaren, a Ferrari, and a Williams with a McLaren right behind.
This is not what we expected to see here at all.
Is Aaron gonna pit? Surely he has to. He's backing up. He's not gonna pit. Aaron is gonna run intermediates in dry conditions. Wee Biscuits is doing the same. Is James going to pit? Okay, James is pit. It's going to be one lap. It's a one-lap shootout. Again, this is exactly what happened at Australia, round 2.
Oh my god. This is crunch time. This is squeaky bum time. This is what it all comes down to.
I have never seen a more apt example of squeaky bum time. I'm submitting this to the people who write dictionaries after this race.
I'm just write a novel about this race alone.
I'm going to send them a QR code. There's just a link to this.
This is all going to come down to this final lap. Everything is to play for right now.
Surely, Aaron and Wee Biscuits aren't...
They have to pit, but they can't.
No, they can't.
They can't. There's no reason. They can't stay up this high though. Not with the amount of soft tyres on the grid right now. There is no way they can keep this one too.
Right, there's a fair point which we're going to have a look through here while we have some opportunity to. Immortal has 3 seconds of time penalties at the moment. James has 6. Motive Carrot has 3. Safety car in this lap when like none of the grid is there. So we're going to have 2 laps of racing to finish this off. I'm going to bring up the tyres because while the penalties do matter somewhat here, I don't think they're going to matter enough for us to really see.
Brit could potentially land themselves in a P5. Which
Comfortably.
could be incredible.
If not higher. I can't see Bocadillon, Wee Biscuits and Aaron finishing anywhere near the positions that they're in right now. But
2 laps of racing here.
we'll find out. They've gone quite early. Aaron is going to lead them all the way down to turn 1 with Wee Biscuits behind him, Mando behind them. No DRS, no real ERS for a lot of these guys to play with on this first lap. In fact, we're not going to see DRS now for the rest of this race. That's it. It's done. Nada. Finished. XTG Mando needs to take down 2 drivers on the intermediates in dry conditions, and they're going side by side with each other already. Aaron's gone! Aaron's around already! We're not even 3 corners through this lap, and Aaron is out. Wee Biscuits leads this race, but after making contact with the Mercedes driver, I'm going to watch that one back briefly, but there's so much that could happen here that I can't stick on it for too long. Biscuits starting to struggle. Mando is catching him. Oh my days.
We could see RSA Bocadillon on a podium in this Red Bull, unless he starts to drop off in speed, which he probably is going to with his inters. Brit is going to look for the overtake, and we could see Brit on the podium. Brit gets the overtake on Dion as well.
There's more contact between them as well further down. This is all kicking off.
Dion here.
He's almost 2 seconds back is Jake. He's going to need a huge drive if he wants to gain something out of this now. It's not gone the way that he wanted at all. I think that's Dion completely out of ERS too. Wee Biscuits and Mando going to be dueling. Mando is closing in on Biscuits as much as he possibly can.
Mando's going to get the overtake here. Fast lap from Penny's Freak. Just beat Stars for this time.
Wee Biscuits just about manages to hold position there as well.
For the last lap. Oh my word.
This is
pull off the defensive play of history and manage to keep these inters going in dry conditions and hold this spot.
Jake passed Bocadillon. Mando is literally pushing Biscuits around these corners. Your top 5 are almost all within a second of each other. As James gets past Immortal as well, they've got penalties to play with. So there's penalties for all of the top 3. If Brickgrit can pull his finger out here, he might actually get... Oh, Wee Biscuits gets a penalty. So... he moves all the way down. Mando is winning this race. I finally made a prediction that might come true, barring any complete and utter drama here.
If we see some big racing here from the Alphas, though, we could see Alfa and Mayo both on the podium.
He's going for it again. Biscuits has got the move again.
If that penalty wasn't there, driver of the day regardless. How he's still getting anything out of these inters is just incredible.
And Mando gets the move done. He's going to get P1 on track, maybe just about.
Biscuit's going to get the win on track.
It's a double podium for Alfa Romeo. How has Jake?
Oh my word.
Oh my god. Oh my days.
I'm lost for words.
Brickgrit moves from P10 in the championship. He's only managed 14 points and finds himself in P2 at the end of this race. Jake finishes P3 as his 5th podium in 6 races. Again, not finished anywhere but the podium or the pit lane.
You've got to wonder if he doesn't have that incident with Stars, if he potentially has won today. It's looking that way.
Alfa Romeo take the lead in the constructors. They've pulled away, even though McLaren finally have their first win, and it's come the way of XTG Mando, which I don't think was on the cards. But I tell you what, I voted for the man. I told you all it was going to happen. And it certainly has. It certainly has. Incredible.
What a race from Biscuit and Brit, by the way. Biscuit going up from 14th to 4th on that race, and Brit going all the way from 11th to 2nd. What a drive. Oh my word.
We'll
Said we
see
wanted
who
drama.
we can get in here and have a chat with.
We said we wanted drama and we wanted rain, and we got both. What an end here in Imola today. What a drive.
Do you know if my audio is included? Because I can't include it.
I do indeed, Mando. Anything you say will be broadcast live.
Oh my word. We've seen action. We've seen rain. We've seen everything today.
We've seen it all. We've seen it all. Silky, I can see that our man who has somehow managed to cobble together a P3 from that has joined. So I'll let you take it away.
Talk to me. What happened today? Fantastic to get yourself back onto the podium after that incident, but the decision to stay out on the hards despite the rain starting. What made you decide upon that, Jake?
My engineer kept telling me it was going to go away in 5 minutes, but 5 minutes turned into fucking 15 minutes. I'm sorry for swearing.
Wow, that is honestly, the rain wasn't heavy, so it wasn't a bad idea.
Yeah, the whole time when I was asking him, he was saying dry tyres seem like the best option. So I was like, well, if it's going to go away, and if dry tyres seem like the best option, there's not much point pitting, and then having like, what, 5 laps on inters and then pitting again.
Obviously, had that incident going into the chicane with Stars, it did try to go up the outside of you when there wasn't really the space there. Opinions on how that one went down? Obviously, did spin you out and drops you out of potentially a second win here in this season.
Well, I mean, you know me, so you can imagine I was fuming.
I can imagine there was a
All the
lot
French
of French
words were
shouting.
coming out, bruv. Yeah.
All the French words are coming
All the
through.
French words are coming out.
Obviously, it's a shame to see that impact so late in this race. Obviously, it only had 2 laps of racing after that safety car went in. So really was all to play for there at the end. But very, very impressive to manage to pull yourself back up into a very respectable P3 alongside your teammate, who is now also on the podium for the first time.
Yeah, I'm not going to have as much backache with Alfa Romeo tonight, am I?
Yeah, I was going to say, with the amount of carrying you've done for Alfa Romeo
because
this
you've been
season,
saying it all season.
about time
Me
your
and my
teammate
boy
stepped
Brit
up,
Grit.
and what a step up we have had today from Brit. Is Brit here with us? Brit is not here with us to interview. That is a shame. Fantastic drive from you today to manage to pull back, like I said, a very respectable P3 with all things considered. One of the few drivers on the grid today who didn't decide to go onto Inters at all. We had a couple who obviously swapped on and then decided very quickly it was not the play. But very good drive from you today.
Just got a message there from Brit Grit that just says that he's very pleased with the points and buzzing with that. Great points for the team. So yeah, definitely the team game is the focus there for Brit Grit. Maybe we've laid it on a little thick for him so far this season, but a great result for him and the team.
Now, I think for the moment you've been waiting for all day, would you like to take the honours of interviewing your good friend Mando, who has just won their Grand Prix this season?
Mando, I don't know if you're watching the stream, but I backed you from the get-go today. I said it was happening. I voted for you in the poll, and you've made it happen. How is the question? What was... Clearly, there was confidence there that the dry tyres weren't going to work out. Was just, again, were you getting information from your engineer that was more accurate, or how did that all play out for you?
Well, as you saw in the chat, I did say rain in 10 or 15 minutes. I was prepared to go on to the actual inters, but it was a mistake from my pit crew that actually put me on a set of used softs.
Oh my.
So I just thought, no, I'm not going to come in. I'm just going to hope the track dries up, just gamble, and the gamble actually paid off. The track did actually dry up. During the wet, though, I had still tremendous corner speed. My setup was absolutely perfect. It was just down the straights. I was just spinning the tyres like anything. But yeah, good race. I think I did hit Jake when Stars hit him. Obviously trying to go around the corner of avoiding it, but it didn't really affect me. So just lucky to get pole, really.
Yeah, there obviously was a few incidents there. It'll be interesting to see what happens from Stars. I don't think it was purposeful at all there,
No.
and I would hope we'll see a bit of sportsmanship from him. These things happen. I mean, that was a yeah. Well, there you go. There's an apology there actually already there from Stars. That was a crazy race, and I think something like that was bound to happen. But you've kept it clean, Mando. You've done your job there, and well, just congratulations on the win, and thank you for proving me right.
Only my second one in RSF1 as well. So
See, there you go. There you go. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating on that race today. Went about as well as we expected it to. Congratulations to all the podium sitters and Mando once again on that win. We'll see you all next week.
All I'm going to say is before you end, I might be getting a 3-second time penalty from the stewards because I may have run Wee Biscuits a bit wide going into the last corner.
Oh my.
And he picked up a 3-second time penalty because of it.
Oh my god.
So
Could still all change. You shouldn't have told me that. You shouldn't have
And
told me that.
1-2 is
I
on the
thought
cards
I'd be
now.
honest.
Oh my god.
Well, I will not be here this next week, but you will have the Chinese Grand Prix to entertain you, which I'm sure will also have some hilarity involved.
Oh, love it.
So best of luck to everybody for that. Same time every week as normal, 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. You can watch